early start today. Um, I'm actually going into the studio the first time since the pandemic began to record with Judith Owen. And we will be safe. There was a fabulous engineer, producer who I did things like the Muppet movies with him and stuff, named Dave Bianco, who has a really great studio, just Dave's place. And that's where we've been doing all of Judith's recording, and Dave was co-producing the new album material, some of that with her. And then Dave got sick and passed away. It's the most heartbreaking thing because he was like a beautiful cat and a gifted engineer and great ears. So the family's kept the studio up and going, and there's a really good engineer working there. So when we go in today, it's just going to be the engineer in the control room, Judith in the piano. They have a great piano, so Judith is in a piano room. There's a specific glassed-in room dedicated to the piano, and then I'll sit in the main room and plug in a little amp in there, and we've got a whole bunch of new material of hers to record because she's got several projects all kind of going at one time. She is a force of nature. But I got up really early, woke the dogs up, dragged them out for a walk because they do like their walk, and then I just hooked up with my dear friend Neil Wilkinson, great drummer Neil Wilkinson, who is doing a Zoom thing every week from London, and they broke they broke tradition last week, and I did the show with them, and all these people were on there, all these drummers talking. But this morning he's got Vinny Colaiuta on there, so it was great. I was just talking to Vinny on Zoom on that show, and Vinny is just like, you know, the way I talked about Simon Phillips, same thing with Vinny. I mean, he's one of these guys that just, facility is so secondary that this guy just plays everything from his mind and his heart, and he's a treasure. But yesterday I went into Carla Bonoff territory, who I absolutely love Carla, and I was really glad to share that. I'm going to do some more Carla. I'll probably do some Andrew Gold also, because this was a real incredible community here in Los Angeles of musicians and artists that in the heyday of all this really were one of the most giving and sharing groups of people. You'd go to anybody's house, and you know, you'd walk into somebody's house and David Crosby be in there singing, Joni Mitchell. I mean, I'm not going to drop keys over these because it's just the reality of the moment. But it was a real community, and all these kind of documentaries like Laurel Canyon that are made about it really don't even do it justice, because it was really an environment that was so creative and so interesting. And when I started working with Judith Owen, she really wanted to do an album that, when she was young, her father's an opera singer, was an opera singer. He passed away a couple of years ago, but he was an opera singer with the Covent Garden Opera in London. And Judith would tell stories about how, you know, the family would be out driving. She's from Wales, and they'd be out in the countryside driving, and they were all singing along with James Taylor in the car. She just, you know, loved James. And then when I hooked up with her husband, who I'd known for years, Harry Shearer, from Spinal Tap and The Simpsons and all that, we just connected immediately and started talking about it. And the first album I did with her was called Ebb and Flow. And it was really her homage to the music of her youth, of driving around in the car with her family, singing James Taylor and all that. And she is really cut from that same mold. She's a pianist and a singer and a songwriter and a comedian and an actress. I mean, she's like a real Renaissance woman in terms of all of these facilities and abilities that she has. But when she decided to go in the studio, she said, you know, you think Russ or Waddy or any of those guys would do this? Because she really wanted to do something that would harken back to the stuff that she grew up with. And I said, call them. And we went in Sunset Sound, which is one of the great old classic studios. We cut it really old school. I got Russ Kunkel and Waddy Wachtel and Lenny Castro to do the album. And she would sit at the piano and play a song, and we would each sketch out a little chart for ourselves and go in. And generally within a take or two, we had the song. It was really all performance based. And it's been that way with Judith ever since. I've been touring with her now for a number of years and doing lots of recording with her. And we've been doing a bunch of a cappella videos together. And the thing that was always great working with her is she could put together different incarnations of bands. The song I'm going to play today is a song that Judith and I did as a duo. But we did a number of songs as duos. Other times when we first started, we had Russ and Waddy and myself and Judith. Then Pedro Segundo, who's a fabulous percussionist from Lisbon, joined us. Then we do some gigs that are just Judith and Pedro and I. She's been doing some gigs when I was out with Phil Collins, where it's just her and Pedro. And then there are times when we add a string section, which is Gabriella Swallow on cello, Lizzie Ball on violin, and Megan Cassidy on viola. And they are a magnificent section and based out of London. So, I mean, that's the kind of cool thing. I mean, James Taylor was the same way. James could go on stage, play his guitar and sing, and audience was happy with it. He really liked the colors that a band created. So that's how we all, got involved with him. But these artists that are pretty comprehensive unto themselves are really quite unique. And but I've got to get to the studio. I'm on a time frame here of things I have to do. So I came in early, and I thought I would continue the kind of honoring women artists that I've worked with, because music is music. You could be playing with anybody, but it's really fun. I always love doing projects with women because you get just a different spin, a different attitude in the playing and the writing and stuff. So it's great. So Judith and I did a song called Josephine, and this I think this one might be off of. I'm going to take a look if this was off of Somebody's Child. I think this might be off the Somebody's Child album. I don't have the credit in front of me on this, and we've done a number of them now, so I tend to. Let me see. Actually, let me take a quick look down here. Hold on. This is where the professionalism is really at its finest. I'll look it up and send you a note. So, but I want to play Josephine. This was a song that really Judith and I always just performed as a duo. So I figure, since I don't have anybody else in the room except the stiff behind me, he's not doing anything. He's more of like an A&R guy. So I'm not even going to talk to him. So this is Josephine.
You
Josephine, Judith, Owen. I'm really excited. I'll film some of the session and I'll post that tomorrow. I think we're going to be in for a couple of days because she's really sent me a pile of stuff. I've been sitting home sketching out charts, but it's almost like some of the stuff she's writing is almost like Broadway. And it's incredibly complex and involved. And she's one of those artists, we'd be out on the road and we'd say, oh, let's try something new now. Why don't you go write a song? And she'd show up with a great song. I mean, great, that she had just written, that morning. And we did like bus concerts. We would pull into towns and we would, like through a local radio station, they would have a contest and like invite 12 people and they would come and hang out on our tour bus with us while we were parked, and we would do a private concert for them. I mean, it's so much fun. I just love being on the road with her, and she has a real joie de vivre. So every day we would be looking for museums, art galleries, junk shops and things. It was never a dull moment on the road. And I look forward to the chance to get back out there again. I think every musician is chomping at the bit at this point to hit the road again, because it's hard not playing. Miss it, God, I miss it. But I'm excited again. I'm going to mention it again. On the 26th of this month, we will be doing a live stream of the immediate family, and I'll get you all the information so that you can come in and sign in to join us. There's a free concert, you can't beat the price, and it'd be fun to share a bunch of our stuff, because it's the writing depth of the band is so good and the playing is so good that I think you'll really enjoy it. And thank you for everybody who's gone to our YouTube channel and website and everything. Everything's got tons of activity going on. And I think it's thrilling. We all kind of laugh at the whole thing. We look at each other and go, who would think a bunch of old guys in their 70s would suddenly be having like this kind of action going on? But the beauty of it is this is a band that's still looking forward, not resting on past laurels. So there's some seriously great stuff going on. So I'm going to do that. Be safe out there. We're going to be that. I mean, when I'm in with Judith today, I'm sure she'll take her mask off to do her vocals. But unless she's going to use it as a windscreen, I don't know. But I'm going to have my mask, and when I'm not playing, I will have my gloves on, because there are areas of this country that are spiking like crazy right now, where all these people are out there thinking, it's over. It miraculously disappeared, just like he said it would. And in the meantime, the number of deaths and stuff are climbing dramatically. So don't be stupid. Life's too important to just give it up because we've been put in a difficult situation for a period of time. Especially, it's one thing if your actions only affect you, then, so be it. But when the things you're doing are affecting all those around you, and especially the vulnerable. If you go out to a party and you're hanging with all your friends and going, this is cool, and you get something, you go home and you've got like a little sister who's got an immune issue, maybe bad asthma or something, or your grandparents are quarantined in the house, and you come home and give it to them. How are you going to live the rest of your life knowing that, your irresponsibility or impatience cost a family member their life? So I'm going to get off my soapbox. I just wanted to play for you guys today, but be careful out there. This is really deadly serious. So take good care, and maybe I'll have some footage to post tomorrow of I'll do a real song and then maybe post a secondary thing of Judith in the studio. And then we're going to be rehearsing with the immediate family before our gig. I'll film some rehearsal and introduce you to all the cats. I'll have them say hello, and then you'll realize that the bass player is the coolest guy in the band. But shh, don't tell anybody I said that. Okay? I'll see you.